I'd like to bring the first company up on stage, Zach Galindo from EZHNT.
So being new here, my co-founder and I were trying to find private property to hunt on. And we didn't want to take the time to go door-to-door knocking. So we reached out to some friends and family to see what they do, and we found that they have the same issue. And then that's when we took it to the internet. We sent out a survey, and 170 hunters responded and said they too have the exact same issue. If you don't already know somebody with private property, then you have to go spend that time going door-to-door knocking. And that's when we came up with the idea for EZHNT, digitally connecting landowners and sportsmen excuse me, to earn income through safe hunting activities. Now, hunters are willing to spend money wherever they can to make sure that they have a successful hunt. In 2016, 147 million different hunting outings were taken, and those hunters spent $12.8 billion on hunting equipment alone, and another $9.2 billion on trip-related expenses. Now, the hunting market is a large market. Hunters spend $1.84 billion every year leasing out property. And these leases are typically long-term. And that's where we come in. So we allow the landowner to lease out their property for as little as a day. And that allows for the hunter to spend a fraction of the price that they would on today's average hunting lease spend. So a hunter is typically a middle-aged male who earns $75,000 a year, and they spend a total of a little over a week hunting for their preferred game. Now, the landowner is just a little bit older than that, earns $83,000 a year, has over 400 acres of property, and each acre is worth $10 to $50 an acre, depending on the quality of the property. So, as I stated before, the biggest issue hunters have when they're trying to find private property is that it's often time-consuming and inconvenient. Not to mention the newer generational trend of people being unwilling or too afraid to go knocking on someone's door and asking them for permission to hunt. Then you have the landowner who has to consider the fact of, is the hunter going to respect my property? Are they going to follow the rules of the property? And are they going to be safe? And that's also where we come in. There's nobody else trying to connect hunters and landowners in the same manner that we are, and connecting those two creates a massive market that's currently missing. So our solution is a self-service web-based platform where users can rent property directly from landowners. And then landowners get to make some money off of leasing their property, and both parties can have the confidence in knowing that they're going to have a safe experience. So our business model is a percentage-based take rate commission fee between 15 and 25%. At this rate, the average one-day commission on a trip is $490, and we project that our revenue for 2025 will be $5.6 million. So here's an example of how a hunter might utilize the platform. So a hunter makes a profile, they search for a property that interests them, they then view the details. At this point, the hunter may decide they want to book the property, so they select the dates, they type in some information, then they agree to the property rules, and they click confirm and pay. It truly is that simple. So our total addressable market is an $8.2 billion opportunity to consume 47% of all hunters. Now, to infiltrate the market, we plan to establish a beachhead. To do this, we've identified the top 5 states with the most hunters and the most landowners. And once we establish a base there and a base of customers, we plan to expand to the other $295 million serviceable obtainable market. So our competition is missing some key features. So many of their websites are outdated, difficult to navigate, and also have duplicate listings. And that creates another issue of double booking the same property. With our platform, we want to focus on a modern user interface and user experience, and our platform is going to be full service, meaning everything that's on our platform can be done right there. You don't have to go anywhere else. So we do emphasize safety. Therefore, every single hunter is going to have a background check. Both parties are going to have insurance, and we plan on implementing a GPS tracking system so that the landowner knows exactly where the hunter is at all times. Now, this is going to help mitigate any sort of accident that might otherwise happen if the landowner has no idea where the hunter is at. We also want to focus on a modern user face and user experience. This will allow us to create a clean and clear platform, and that clean platform is going, along with the tools such as a rating and review system, allows for both parties to be able to determine whether or not leasing a property is worth it for them. So as we establish our beachhead, we would like to use digital marketing to build a community. Once we build that community, then we want to have that community incentivized to become paying customers through referral marketing, also providing a payment credit to each one of them. So having a robust platform is essential for this idea to work. Therefore, we've talked to developers and we've figured out the price for each functionality, and we've also sequenced these functionalities in a manner that allows for early adoption as soon as possible. So our progress, we started with a very simple MVP. Then we took that MVP over the course of several months, and we went to different expos, allowing people to utilize our MVP and give us suggestions, give us features. We then took it back, made it better, and then went back to another expo. And then we used that to help us build our MVP to what it is today. And that's basically, it's a decently functioning MVP with most of the features. And that allowed us to acquire 3 landowners and 2 hunters. We also have 109 newsletter subscribers, and we've been personally invited to 2 more expos. Getting insurance was fairly difficult. However, we did end up finding someone, a company, Bigfoot Insurance, that would allow us to have our insurance, allow us to have our on-demand insurance that our platform would need to do this. And that allowed us to have our first transaction. So based on our go-to-market strategy, we project that in the next 24 months, we will have 800 users generating $200,000 in revenue every month. And the ups and downs in the graph just reflect the cyclical nature of the hunting season, where down is during the off season and up is during the peak. So our plan for the $50,000, the $50,000 would be huge. It would be absolutely instrumental in for us to take our MVP and make it into a fully functional, well-defined platform where people can actually get on and start using it, and we can start actually generating a community and building revenue. We also want to tackle legal such as terms and services. We want to continue going to expos, and we need to start a digital marketing campaign. So our team consists of myself, Zach Galindo, Malvina Nybar, and Caleb Cole, and together we have over 35 years of hunting experience. So respondent 24 to the landowner survey, when asked question 6, what would an ideal set of services look like to make it easy and safe for you to confidently lease your property? He said, a process where I put my property on a site and a hunter clicks to book, but it'll never be that easy. I want background checks and insurance. A tracking system would also be nice. It is this statement that reinforces our business model. EZHNT truly is the solution to no more door knocking. This is EZHNT, digitally connecting landowners and sportsmen to earn income through safe hunting activities.
Thank you, Zach. We're going to go ahead and pursue to the judge Q&A portion. You guys have a mic in front of you, so feel free to pass it around. You have 10 minutes or so to ask some questions.
Is Colorado one of the top 5 states for hunting?
It is not. The top 5 states are Texas, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Georgia, and Wisconsin.
Do you have concerns that EZHNT could be held liable for any incidents that occur on a hunt?
I guess it would depend on what the incident was. Because there are rules and regulations that hunters have to follow with their guidelines. So I don't know that we would be responsible. However, we are offering insurance. So if it was a legal matter, that would fall in the, the jurisdiction of the wildlife services.
So I grew up hunting here in Colorado, New Mexico. Haven't been for about a decade or so. But during that time when we would go out and knock on doors and ask for permission, we wouldn't pay anything. And so it was free. So if there's, how do you kind of compete with free in that sense? If some people are saying, well, I could probably, if I take the time, get it for free versus book something and pay for something.
Right, absolutely. So this would be targeted towards those hunters, that make $75,000 a year, around that. Also, I mean, you can get anything for free, you know what I mean? It's just the convenience. Do you want to take the convenient road, or do you want to spend that time going door to door knocking? That can take days, that can take sometimes weeks. It just depends. It's the luck of the draw.
I'm from Wisconsin, so I'm going to give you kind of a softball here.
Okay.
But I think you've got the answer to this, but I'd like to hear you kind of expand on it a little bit more. But does this help prevent poaching, and if so, how? And does it help prevent the use of illegal weapons, and if so, how?
So I would say there's really no prevention of poaching and using illegal weapons. There's not really a way. We're not a law enforcement agency, so we can't help that. However, we can incentivize people, give people an easier route to finding somewhere, because a form of poaching is trespassing and illegally hunting on someone's property. So if you have an easier avenue to access that property, then you don't have to, then it may help, but I'm not sure on the statistics of how we would impact poaching. Yeah.
As you look at your growth curve, as you start to ramp up here in the early stage, what's most important for you in terms of your customer base? Is it hunters or is it landowners?
So definitely landowners. Landowners are what drive this. If we don't have landowners, then we don't have a company, really. I mean, because without the landowners, the hunters have nowhere to go. And even if we get landowners on there and there's not hunters yet, we can eventually slowly get hunters. But if a hunter comes to our platform and sees there's no landowners, they're going to say that's a waste of time.
Just to follow up there.
Sure.
So from the digital marketing perspective, you have $10,000 allocated towards that. What's your plan to target the landowners in such a way that you're going to continue to ramp up and scale so you can identify, and that's your supply, right? That's your supply side of your
Right,
of
absolutely.
your curve, right? So what's that digital marketing campaign look like, and how are you going to attack it?
So that digital marketing campaign is going to come in the form of Google Ads, Facebook marketing, as well as it's going to be a tandem effort as us getting also out there and going to these expos. It's so important to go to these expos because the hunting community is a community, and they all talk and they all communicate, and people know people. So for us to be getting out there, as well as digitally blasting that out in the same region, those top 5 states are where our money is going to be best used.
I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm also from Wisconsin, so we got a little thing going on. It's a big deal out there. Anyway, so can you walk me through, if I'm a hunter, walk me through the cost. And let's focus on a 400-acre parcel. Tell me what's going to cost and go into the insurance costs. I want the GPS. I want the whole package. Because you had mentioned that your revenue from that was close to $500. So walk me through what I'm going to pay to reserve a 400-acre farm.
Right, so that 490 revenue, that's the average of all. So we have it broken up into categories. So a large property, a medium property, and a small property. So that cost is going to vary depending on what the property, the location, is it a trophy? Do you have trophy bucks? Are you a breeder? I mean, there's a ton that goes into this. It's kind of hard to just take a vague example like that and just, you would have to look at everything that property offers, and then from there you go and you start, putting the price tag on it. I mean, it's like,
Just give me, I just want to, is it a $5,000 day or is it a $1,000 day? Give me.
So 400 acres would probably be 1,000 a day, I would say. I don't have the number exactly off the top of my head, but I would say probably 1,000 a day. And insurance for that day, we haven't really worked out the exact pricing with our insurance company. So yeah, I don't have the exact figures for you right now, but we are still in the works with the insurance company. And we're working with also a background check company as well, where they provide a service where they API their background directly into our platform so that we could utilize it. And then that's on a per background check basis. So the GPS cost is something that we haven't even figured out yet, because of course, we're hunting in, a large acre, and even if you go here, some places in Colorado Springs, you lose service. So we're trying to figure out a way to get a GPS where it can communicate to the landowner's phone, and not just like a simple EZHNT where you can download the map. It needs to actually be able to actively communicate. So we're thinking maybe an IoT device of some sort. So we're still trying to figure that out.
Thank you, Steve, for the GPS question. That was one of mine, so I got that. No, knocked that out. But I had a different question. And looking at your demographics from the perspective of the hunters and the landowners, 100% understand that, from the standpoint of hunters who are probably going to be in a city, want to go, away, have fun, and hunt, in a remote location. The hunters themselves probably, are going to be more kind of digital users. But just looking at the age breakdown of both of those, I was just curious if in your research, when you're specifically looking at the landowners, are they digital users? Are they going to be interested in using a platform like this? Are they going to be technically savvy enough, basically, based on that information? Just knowing that, a lot of folks that, want to be out and away from stuff, may not necessarily
right, yeah.
want to be on the internet or the computer.
So before, yes, that was the case. Older folks would like to be like, I don't understand any of this stuff. But the more technology gets integrated with society, the more older people kind of have to integrate with it. So, it's not uncommon to find someone. The number was 59. The average was 59 years old. That's not really that old. But people are using technology a lot more. So, my grandpa uses EZHNT, and he's 80. So, and of course, being out there and talking at the expos and talking to people. You get all ranges of age, and they all have a cell phone. Everyone has a cell phone. Everybody uses apps. So, I think it's the way of the future. Can
you tell us a little bit more about your competitors? You mentioned that you can get double booked on some of their stuff and that their websites are kind of a hindrance. Can you just kind of explain kind of what differentiates you between you and your competitors?
Yeah, okay. So like I said, their websites are very outdated. They're hard to navigate. It's not easy to figure out what's going on. So you kind of have to take it upon yourself to search through it. And then you see, the same property 2, 3, 4 times, and you're like, well, they claim they have, 220,000 properties on here, but I see the same one over and over again. So then you book it, or we've even tried to call the property and see, is anyone there? Nobody's there. Nobody answers. And then hunting locator, you have to call hunting locator, and then they call the landowner, and then they kind of work as the middleman. Whereas ours is a full service platform. Ours, anything you need to do is right there on the platform. There's an in-app messaging system. There's you pay on there. We want to eventually have where you can even upload your hunting documentation on there. And then we also want to have a feature where whenever you harvest your animal, you can take a picture. It automatically sends it to the landowner, because some people don't want you to shoot, immature deer, because they're trying to raise mule deer or trophy deer, So it's like we have multiple different things. We're trying to be not just better in one area. We want to be multi-dimensional. We want to have everything that you can possibly need right there on your app, so you don't have to go anywhere.
Time for one more question.
throwing out there. And since I'm rural North Dakota, so that way everyone knows where the judges are from. A quick comment of,
Sure.
if I asked my old man to get on a platform to do this, he would laugh at me. You go to Shields, you go to Cabela's, you go to these places where these folks hang out. Like, that's the best source of, revenue generation, in my opinion. But going back to what does success look like for you if you were to raise additional rounds of capital, have you set up benchmarks, and what does that first benchmark look like after you've had this $50,000? What does success look like in your eyes?
So the very first benchmark is to go from an MVP to a nice, clean, robust website. Because once we have that website, people can actually really start adopting it and getting onto it. And so we want to start around Pennsylvania, because that's just one of the best spots to go is Pennsylvania. And then we want to build up at least 100 landowners there. And then we want to spread down to Georgia, Tennessee, Wisconsin, and then Texas. Once we have at least 100 landowners in each state, we want to continue on. And we have an entire list from the top 20. So from the top 5, we want to continue down, right down the list and hit every single one of those states as we go. So I think success looks like having at least 100 properties in each state. I think that's what success looks like for us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zach.